What's up, everybody? SoulPlay2200 here. Welcome back. Today's a big day for my channel. Not only am I actually back making some videos after a couple weeks of being off, I'm actually doing my first ever review. Now, ever since I talked about it in the last update, I've had tons, tons of requests. So many requests, I had to put them all into a folder. See? All the papers? All these papers right here? Anyways, I decided to take some time while I was off. I took some time to think about what I wanted to review. And I realized there was a single movie that was coming out next month, actually. And I thought, what better way to enjoy waiting for that than to actually review the movies that came before it in the series. Now, what series is that, you may ask? Why, Dragon Ball Z! Dragon Ball Z, I don't think needs any sort of introduction as to what it is. Honestly. I mean, it's one of the biggest names in anime and manga. One of the biggest names out there. And the new movie, Revival of F, I just call it Revival of Frieza because we all know it's Frieza coming back, is coming out next month. So I figured we'd start from the top, the very, very first one, and go down to the newest one to see how I think I might even throw a couple games in, maybe a couple other things in there just to kind of, do it in between. So, we're going to start with The Dead Zone. The Dead Zone was released in 1989. It was considered the very first Dragon Ball Z movie, technically also the first original Dragon Ball movie, because the first Dragon Ball series movies were just rehashes of the story with different villains, maybe a couple different things. Basically, if you didn't want to watch the anime, you could have just watched the movies. But because of that, people have said that the movies are now considered their own timeline, which could have been how future Trunks' Z Warriors are different than the main storyline. I don't even know. Anyways, we're focusing on the movie. So, again, very first movie that came out, in Japan, funny enough, it was called Dragon Ball Z, go figure. It was also called Dragon Ball Return by Gohan, and then when it came to America, it was called Dragon Ball The Dead Zone Vortex, because at the time there was another The Dead Zone movie out, but then after a while they just stuck with The Dead Zone, and that's the title that came after that. Shit. You guys didn't see that. First of all, though, before we do it, spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, and want to know about it, don't watch this review. If you don't care, let's talk about it. In the beginning, it shows Piccolo training out in some rocky wilderness somewhere, and he's, presumably training to be better than Goku. He is then attacked by 3 shadowy figures, counting 4 because of their higher up, and he is supposedly killed. Which also presumably kills Kami. Which means no Dragon Balls. The fact that Kami and Piccolo died in the beginning, they set it up so well. I mean, like, Piccolo, who's this super-duper badass villain, gets taken out by, like, 3 people. People who have only seen the original Dragon Ball going into this movie would be like, oh my god, Piccolo's dead! Who are these guys? These guys are so much more powerful than Goku and Piccolo. How's Goku ever gonna beat them? Meanwhile, Gohan is in the forest next to his house doing some schoolwork, and Ox King comes to visit, and it's a nice, happy family reunion. Until Ox King and Chi-Chi get beat up by the same shadowy assailants that beat up Piccolo, and then Gohan is kidnapped. Yeah. So, Goku gets there too late, and he hears that they took Gohan's, so he just kind of flies off and goes to Master Roshi's island, gets the Dragon Radar from Bulma, who's just chilling there with Krillin for some reason. We don't even know why they're there. And he goes off on his own to go save Gohan using the radar as a compass. Meanwhile, at the villain's hideout, the 3 shadowy assailants bring Gohan to a being called Garlic Jr. And I have to be honest, I thought Emperor Pilaf was the main villain. When I first saw this movie, I knew nothing about the movie. I looked at it, and I was like, Oh my god, Emperor Pilov's back. This is amazing. Cannot wait. So much hype. And it wasn't Emperor Pilov. Kind of depressing. Kind of sad about him not being Emperor Pilov because he's short, kind of even looks like Emperor Pilov, shares the same voice actor, I think they do. But anyways, so Garlic is sitting there going, when I get the Dragon Balls, I'll take over the world, right? And he's all being all evil. And then there's just some exposition about a drunk Gohan, which was creepy. Not gonna lie, I don't like that part. I skip that regularly because it's just kind of weird. So after lots of that exposition, we have Garlic Jr. making a wish to the Eternal Dragon and actually gets immortal. He actually wins. He gets to be immortal. Good for him. Not really. But anyway, so Goku gets there right after the wish is granted, and Kami, who's supposedly dead, decides to descend down from heaven and give more exposition on how Garlic Jr. was I guess you could call him, like, the prophesized son? Kami says that Garlic Jr. is the son of Garlic Sr., the first Garlic, who was Kami's rival to become God. So they fought, did stuff, and then Super Kami, that's what we're just gonna call him, was like, "Oh, Garlic, I sense darkness in your heart. I'm not gonna choose you. Kami, you can be God. I know you'll do the job much better." And then Kami goes up to become God and everyone's happy, except for Garlic. He feels like he was cheated out of it, so he summons his army of darkness and his demons, and he opens a freaking Phantom Zone. I'm not even kidding. DC should have known this was gonna happen. I know everyone copies people all the time, but seriously, the Dead Zone is literally the Phantom Zone from Superman. Not even kidding. Anyway, so he opens that up, and then basically Super Kami's like, nope, pushes him into it, and Garlic is trapped in his own creation for all of eternity, and it closes because he doesn't have the power, because nothing's holding it open, etc., etc., done. So then, they start fighting. Garlic Jr. and Kami are fighting, and Garlic Jr. is like, "I'm immortal, you can't do anything to me," and Kami, does his hardest, and he's like, "I'm willing to sacrifice myself to save the world," and he goes like Raiden in MK Deception, tries to blow himself up. Meanwhile, Goku's fighting the Shadowed Assailants, and is kind of getting his butt kicked, till Krillin comes in, and is like, "Hey Goku, I thought you might need some help," so he goes to help him, and then Piccolo comes back, and he's like, "You're gonna pay for what you did earlier," and then there's this whole big fight. Basically, the rest of it is they beat up the three. Goku actually uses the power pole one time. Kamehameha's the other two guys. Piccolo kills one guy. And then Garlic Jr.'s like, "Screw you, I'll go to my ultimate form." And he goes to this big, not even joking, it's the Hulk. It's the Hulk of Garlic Jr. He looks like the Hulk except for his head. No freaking joke. And it's at this time that you start to really understand how strong Garlic Jr. actually kind of is. Like the Hulk, he just starts taking blows and, tossing him through walls, and it's a big, big fight that, you really sit there going, damn, are they actually going to win this? This guy is so powerful, what are they going to do? Well, as usual, they do win. They pull off a tag team attack, and it blows Garlic into a building. And then right after that, everyone thinks, yay! It's done! Garlic Jr.'s over! Forgetting that he has immortality. Piccolo, he doesn't really know. So he looks at Goku and is like, "Yo, Goku, I like you. Because we got a score to settle. We're going to fight now." And, Goku's all up for it. And then Kami, tries to tell him, guys, this guy's got immortality, be careful. And of course no one listens to Kami, and Garlic Jr. just gets right back up, and he's like, screw this, I'm gonna open up the dead zone and destroy everything. So he does. Literally, he opens it up, this big old mouth in the sky just pops out of nowhere, and like before, no matter what anyone else can do, Garlic Jr. is untouched. And no one knows what to do. And it's at this point that a lot of people, including myself, were like on the edge of our seat, like going, oh my god, how are they going to beat this guy? Is there going to be like some fluke? Is Kami going to do it? Is something going to happen? Well, the answer comes in the form of Gohan. Yeah, Gohan. Remember how he just sort of disappeared during the fight and nobody saw whatever happened to him? Yeah, there he is. He's perfectly fine and he's pissed. And just like what happened with the Raditz saga, he sort of unleashes his full potential, well, at least a part of it, and it's so powerful that Garlic Jr. gets pushed into the dead zone and is trapped there forever, just like his dad. Irony much? So then the rest of the movie's basically, Goku, is happy that he found Gohan, and everyone's all happy, and they're all going to go off on their own directions. And that's the movie. So, now that we've actually taken an entire look at the movie, what do I think about Dragon Ball Z: The Dead Zone? It's good. It's a damn good movie. I mean, seriously, this movie was what laid the groundwork for other Dragon Ball Z movies. Dragon Ball Z: The Dead Zone was the first original movie of the series. They didn't rehash some old material and make it kind of sort of new, like Blood Rubies and the movies that followed after that. They said, no, we're going to make an original villain, an original storyline, and we're going to mush them together, and we're going to make a movie that's totally original that everybody should like. And as you can tell, there's been 13 movies, so that movie did really well. And personally, this movie's probably one of my more favorite ones. So, where does Mattao put this movie on his review scale? I give this movie a 3 out of 4. There are some things wrong with it, like the continuity with the show and some other things, but again, there's the multiverse theory about future Trunks' timeline, so that could apply there. Or it's just that, it's the timeline that was made because of future Trunks. You can put it in really anywhere. The fighting was really good, though. The story was actually very interesting. I think Garlic Jr. was a really good villain because he had a sort of complexity to him. Like, he wasn't just, oh, I am doing this because I want to take over the world. It was more also because of, he had daddy issues, and he was like, wow, I want to get revenge for my dad because Kami was took over when it was supposed to be his job. And I think, again, that makes him very complex, and I really like that in a villain. I like a villain that's interesting and that there's more to him than just this cookie-cutter thing like I mentioned earlier. So overall, Dragon Ball Z: The Dead Zone, very good movie for the first one in the series. Go watch it. Seriously. If you don't have it, if you've never seen it, just go watch it. Seriously. Thank you guys so much for joining me for my first review. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I'm planning to do more reviews, game, movie, or otherwise in the future. I don't know how soon my next review will be. I'm hoping it's going to be soon, but my newest semester at college is going to be starting next week, so we'll see what happens there. Anyways, thank you all for joining me today. If you liked this video, please subscribe and like. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this movie. I will see you guys next time.